Okay, 25 years later, seriously. The way these guys are time skipping, I feel like we're gonna end up in the modern 21st century by the end of the show. 25 years. Who's surviving? I think Novak's story is done. I, that's what we saw, the last of him. It's crazy. So it's going to be Yolanta, right? Feels like a completely different show. Because none of the characters are here that we know. Maybe Grabowski. Where are we exactly? Some kind of conspiracy happening. All hush hush. Schmidt. Feels like it does feel like 25 years later. Or it feels like a different place. It's not the same Poland. Heretic Liberation Front. Oh, okay. Rebellion in large scale. Who is this person? You've got a bag on his face. Obviously, he's not going to be deep voice. The confidence in his voice. This is the Catholic version of it, right? Oh. Sounds like a leader. I know this voice, so unique. The first atheist. God doesn't need your interpretation to exist. A naturalist. Believes in the natural world. This is so interesting. Because this did exist, right? It's from the hunter-forager days. We don't put yourself above nature and animals. You have killed them, man. Oh, this is so good. I love this guy already. I need to see his face, man. What? Oh shit. Should not be looking at the intro. That was Yolanta. Right in the first. Holy shit, man, these guys look so cool. This is a different league of heretics, man, not like your regular scholars who are unarmed. What is happening in the show? Feels like a completely different genre. More ambitious action. But still that intellectual, philosophical arguments. He didn't say impossible. Oh. Yeah, Chinese gunpowder, Chinese powder, right, for firecrackers. And the Europeans revolutionized it for weaponized it in their cannons. This is when gunpowder became widespread. Damn, imagine not knowing. Oh my god. Oh shit. Imagine not knowing the scale of destruction of an explosion like that. Ooh. Guns didn't exist at that time. It would only be swords. No other artillery. Science. Science, man. This is the scientific revolution. I read about it. There was this very interesting book, *Sapiens*. Damn, dude, to see it, at that time in history, even though this is still a fictional tale, but still pretty accurate. Not against murder. Dangerous man. Interesting. The change in mindset, it's a lot more forceful now. Yeah, it's like a its own army. Not sure if earlier scholars, philosophers would agree with this method, but this is the kind of force, momentum that it takes to cause a revolution. It's bloody. It always is bloody. Charismatic figure, someone who can change the tides. Mm-hmm. Okay. It's not as easy. You're so manipulative. By declaring that you don't believe in this, you have to believe in the new idea that he'll present. And you have to cling on to it, just like you cling on to this. So you can never go back. You have to believe in this new thing that he's going to present to you. Mm-hmm. A bit of an extremist himself. But you're wearing clothes that are made by humans. Everyday items you use are made by humans. He's a bit of a hypocrite. I mean, you are causing human man-made tragedies in your wake. Now is he gonna kill him? Ah, fuck. Okay. Sparing him right now. Such kind eyes and wild mustache. I didn't even comment on his face. Oh my god. Oh my god. My boys. Who? You're not the leader? If he knows Okuchi and Badeni, that means that Yolenta is with them. She might be the leader. But then she's allowing this kind of a man and these kinds of actions. Rafael, Okuji, Badeni, Grass. Dude, what the fuck? 25 years. What the hell is happening? How is this revolution, this change in belief system happening? From where did it start? There are probably multiple starts, right? This is so interesting. How do they make it so interesting every episode with new characters? This has to be at the same time as Okuji and Badeni, right? 25 years earlier. So how did this idea spread? Or was it all independent? Like people just came to that conclusion independently. I know that line. Yep. Okay. Okay. That's the between the nobility and the peasants, these guys in the middle. That's the contradiction. Yeah, he's asking good questions.
なんで教会に豪華絢爛な装飾が必要なんだ。
And it still continues to this day,
な
right?
んで信者に上下の階級が必要なんだ。
With the super churches.
なんで俺らはこの現状に黙ってし
I
て
didn't
ま
even
わなきゃい
think
けね
about
え
that
んだ。
because they're not nobility. They're supposed to be living in modesty, just like the peasants.
確かにその問題意識はわかる。しかし、この村の暴力的なやり
That
方
is
では
not violent.
教会の分断を深めるだけだぞ。
That is violent.
なるほど。
Both sides of the same coin. They'll use violence to get their ideology spread.
なぜ人思いにやらない。
They're not so different.
時間を
Both radical sides.
絶望する時間。
Which is realistic.
そして改心する時間。
子供助け
What the heck, man? Fuck. Oh man, this is not what Bade Inokuji wanted. But this is happening independent of them, right? These thoughts would pop up in people's minds everywhere. Some of them will turn to extreme measures,
組織長による
forming to
ここに物資が用意
these
してある
these kinds of people, giving birth to these kinds of people.
補給して一休みしよ
Whew. The author's pretty bold to change the story so
う。ではフライ君は引き続き
radically
確認して
by going to the
我
future.
々は物資を取ってくる。
Still, the same ideas and themes are very consistent and very natural,
地図では確かに
extending the story forward.
誰かいる。
ような内容は一体この本で何をしようとしてる？組織長の目的は何なんだ？
誰だ貴様。ここで何してる。どこから来た。名前は。
それは
では回収して帰ろう。どうやら教会の者
I
たち
don't
が
know
来
what
て
to
いる。
say.
おい。
It always has been that the heretics are powerless, they are running in fear, and now look at this
ここは一旦退いて
level
後で
ground
回収するのが賢明かと。
under the same sky. All these years, all these decades.
侵入者を取り逃がしました。アントニー司教。
So interesting that the entire human history, all these fights, bloody revolutions, squabbles, suffering, it all happens under that same constant sky, watching them silently. In complete ignorance, or I should say, like an allegory for God, right? Complete indifference. It's so
もうそっちはどう
interesting.
でもいい。ほっとき。それよりこっちでいい話がまとまりそうだ。
I completely missed what was being said here. Bishop Anthony.
ああ、もうそっちはどうでもいい
Him.。
ほっとき。それよりこっちでいい話がまとまりそうだ。
Huh? Oh, should probably not be watching this. Alright, so I've decided I'll watch episode 17 as well and then collect my thoughts together to give a combined review because a lot of new things happened and I'll probably be speculating about details that wouldn't matter and, as soon as episode 17 rolls in, so I don't want to make predictions that will get answered most of it in episode 17 itself, so I think that will be more productive. Also, I really don't have much to say because I don't know these characters yet. I do see that there has been this silent revolution happening, right? It's probably happened earlier as well in the centuries prior in other parts of the world, unknown to us. And we see this that these things have been popping up independent of our main protagonists' efforts towards realizing the truth. So that's very interesting. I like that larger scale depiction of this shift in the cultural mindset, and also this idea that this was so cool about the bombs, right? Not knowing what explosions are, because the people of the church, they thought that we already know everything that we need to know. There's no more knowledge that we need to seek, because everything is written in our holy scriptures, right? The how you're supposed to live your life, what are the rules, morals you're supposed to follow, what we know about the universe, it's all there. Because if it's not there, then that means that God's knowledge that he has imparted upon us is incomplete, which is, it's heresy. You can't comprehend that. So obviously everything that we know needs to be in the book, hence we don't need to go out and look for answers. And that's how the scientific revolution took place around 15th 16th century in Europe, and not in other civilizations, interestingly. And that's how they became the most powerful civilization in the past century or so, until the past century. That is so interesting to get to see all this. No, like, because I've somewhat read history through this book, *Sapiens*. So that was very interesting. Also, this very realistic idea of, yeah, the revolution or the insurgency. The resistance against the preordained. What do you say? The what is that word? The way the things are, right, with religion and the church, to upheave that, it's gonna be bloody. It's going to have to require the same amount of force and conviction and uh, you know radical methods. That's just natural. Otherwise, they'll get squashed, like how Badeni and Okuji and Raphael and everyone has had to them. So that is pretty realistic. Also, the peasants will rise up, because there's contradiction in the scriptures that the priests get to live this lavish life, which I think happened in time and again, right, during the many revolutions in history. So that was also pretty interesting. These two topics, the idea of the scientific revolution taking place, challenging the teachings of the I would think the Catholic version of Christianity, and also the general uprisings from the peasants, as we saw in that one instance, right, with that one village where people were burning. That was a good example to show that these things were happening in small scales, scattered everywhere. This infectious idea, the consequence of a rational mind, asking questions, even despite themselves, even though they shouldn't be asking questions. So that was very interesting. So let's see what all of this is building up to, and who these guys are, right? This liberation front, and who this charismatic person, who is not the leader exactly, but is at least leading these people, and they're trying to find something. I don't know. Also, that book, I think that is the same book that was those pages written on the back of everyone's heads, right? When Grabowski, which Badini did, which Grabowski figured out. I think that is the compilation of all those uh, pages, Okuchi's words. I think that's what that book was. I don't know, but a lot of these would be confirmed, I'm hoping, in this book, in this episode. So let's see. I could make a lot of money with this book. Okay, so they've lost the book. This character, she was in the opening, right? Okay,
足りない。こんな程度じゃ死ぬ不安は
cure
拭え
my
ない。
fear of death. She is. I should not see it, right?
お父さん持って帰ってこられたのはそれだけで。
Not Yulenta. Okay. Fear of death. I can be saved by money.
はかけたかいドラカよ。
Draka.
はい、大 大体合ってると思う。
So a different name. Quite a distinct name from all the other names that we know.
じゃあ私の話を。我々にはもっと要領よく稼ぐ方法があるはずです。と功労者に報酬を与えるべきだ。というか、独占したっていう
Refugees?
お前にはいつも感謝している。お前ほどこの村の将来を考えている者はいない。
Capitalist mindset.
この地図を頼りに我々は
Okay.
使えそうな布切れを安全に回
The
収
talk of abandoned villages again.
された工程を経て新しい商品に生まれ変わる。
Interesting.
一人一人が勝手に作業をするより役割を専門化させることによって要領の品質
Logistics
を向上させる。
It's amazing, man, to see this play out through
まだ
a
まだ要領が悪い。
fictional series. The actual themes and history. Small, close-knit society and community, right? All working together. And then she being, her being the industrialist.
ドラカ、わしは十分豊かになったと言った。
And the old guy
貪欲は
set in his ways.
これ以上稼いでどうする。
She would thrive in the 20th century.
贈り物なんだ。
So it's a completely different setting.
なんだ。
I have no idea if it's the same country or different country.
安心。
いえ、なんでも。
Her dad, right? Something to do with dad.
病人のためにどうもありがとう。
Same guy. Wait, same guy?
人聞きの悪いことを
Who got
共
captured?
有財産じゃないか。
So none of her characters exist.
全然死なないじゃん。
それはその
大の利益を増やせるんじゃないかと思ったんだけど。どう？
So ambitious,
まあ可能性はあり
determined.
からじゃない。
It'll lead to infighting.
共同体が壊れてしまうからだ。競争を刺激するには我々は人数が少なすぎる。
People would know who got how much.
増えればいいってもんでもない。人数が増えるほど確かに競争は激化するが、その分格差もひどくなる。
Basically the current world. I don't know if people had these kinds of conversations back then, or is it's more like the author wanting to discuss these themes through these characters?
そうは言っても時々心配に。
Because it is a bit on the nose, right? The dialogue.
このままここで終わる運命なんじゃないか。
I can see the author's hand in the dialogue a bit. So these guys live in temporary shelters and raid abandoned villages for loot.
そう信じるよ。
That's how they earn a living. And she is the main character, although there is no main character in this show. Look at that. Entranced by the sun. Or not. Waiting until sunrise for her dad.
いつもここで泣いているのか。
おじさん。
明日も繰り返すだろう。なぜ毎日朝が来ると泣く。
そんなこともわかんない。気を使ってるからに決まってるじゃん。
何に。
みんなにだよ。みんなはお父さんが天国に行ったって言ってるのに、私が毎朝泣いてたら神様のおぼし飯が嘘みたいになるじゃん。
Huh.
ではお前の悩みを解決する。
I feel like more people start doubting the teachings of the church, but nobody voices it out because of fear. Wow, starting with that.
実は神が存在する証拠はない。まあ、に奪わせるな。感情の主導権も生きる意味も。
Wow.
せずに
Your pain is the world's pain.
ために文字を学べ、本を読め。物知りに
This is an interesting episode.
間に
Think for yourself. Don't be bound by restrictions. What is your truth?
そうだ。それがあれば、とどまる勇気と踏み出す度胸が得られる。
Because everyone who abandons God in the church, they believe something else, right? To replace that.
信念ってやつだ。
Conviction.
そうだ。信念を捨ててでも生き残るだ。
それはなんか変じ。
So what hers became money?
矛盾ってやつだ。
お父さんは略奪に行って死んだ。残ったのはこのお金だけ。どう言ってる？何を教えてる？
Oh no.
お父さんが略奪に出なきゃならなかったの
Oh
は
no.
そうしなきゃ生きていけないからだ
That's the conclusion
も
she's
っとお金
going.
があればそんな危険なことし
Guarantees
なくてよか
safety.
ったもっとお金があれば
Wow.
お父さんは生きてたんだ
Wow.
弱だ
Damn, that is so interesting. The leap of logic. Like you're halfway there, but you're also wrong in your
心から不安が消えるまでこれがお父さん
in your interpretation.
これが私の信念だ
Just like how the priests are wrong in the word teachings of God through the scriptures.
考
Like
え
everyone derives their own meaning, right? Relevant to what they're seeking. That is so interesting. Like the belief system manifests itself in different ways for everyone. Like one big one is God and the church. But he continues to do that, right? He's going to plunder a village, an abandoned village. And that's how he gets caught. Wow, how does this show bring up so many insightful stories, themes? What is he searching? Secret tunnel.
これぞ至福の
This is his secret?
上等な酒がたまらん
Oh shit.
これは司教様に報告をと
私は
その身なり移動民族のものか。ここは私の領地だぞ。
ものだけどしょうがない
Acting ignorant and subservient.
司教様今外で不審者を見つけました追ってます3人です
貴様、何を企んでる。
Ah,
私は一人です
bad
村
coincidence.
の者にこんなことがバレたらまずいし
Where's the justice man? What the hell?
私を牢に入れてもあなた方には何の得もないでしょうものを差し出します
なんだ。
若い女ですだから私は見逃してください
No. Ah. That's his conviction. Whatever it takes to survive. Ooh. Oh god, that got dark.
侵入者を取り逃がしましたアントニー司教
より、こっちでいい話がまとまりそうだ。
Don't end. Okay.
大事な話があるいよいよ隊長が
Oh, she joins the
お前は
church.
新人かもしれんが
I think
おそら
so.
く本当にその時が近いみたいだ
I saw her in that
そこ
outfit,
でいろいろ
right?
考えたがやは
In
り
the first
お前
opening.
に託すべきだとお前の運命を変えてしまうものだ
準備はできてる案内して
Oh no. Oh, he's leading her into a trap. I can't tell, man. I honestly can't tell. These characters are way too complex in this show.
時が来るのを待たねばならん
分かった
Accident.
血
Is chi like a. What do you say? A word that can have many meanings? I swear. The book. Oh god, these crazy, freaky coincidences that shape people's lives. I love this show. Same candle.
天と地の回数
Whoa. What? Okuji wrote that as the title on the movements of the earth.
生活から解放される
Read the whole book.
この大地の運動地動説によって
Not a scholarly article, but something that will move people to think, change their ways.
なんだこの本とんでもないものを
And her mindset, this industrialist.
でも主題の割に書かれてることは単純というか理論的なものって
Yeah, it's like a
地動説が及ぼす文化的影響
cultural impact of his system.
本と言ったら宗教や学問のものが大半
That's why this is gonna reach
そ
everyone.
のどれとも違う
Okuji!
個人の感想のようだけど
Yes.
最後はこの大地を作った神への崇拝で終わっている
It's not trying
刺
to
激的な内容だ
pass through an agenda.
私の動揺は中身に対してだけじゃないこの本で大稼ぎできる気配を
考えろ
thinker like Badeni.
広く人に受け入れられる必要がある。
She is centuries ahead.
そもそも受け入れられる
These thoughts were foreign to most people at that time. You have to understand. You gotta sell them something else.
神がなぜこんなにも受けてる。揺るがない存在である神がいる。
This is the author. This character is the embodiment of the author.
おじさんは言った。神はいない。
And he's waiting here to sell her off or something, right? To
神以外の選択肢はないだけ
Anthony.
だけで
Only
も
choice
しかしたら
available.
代わりになる不安の紛らわし方もあるんじゃ。
Huh.
人は分かりやすいものの方が
It's quite the radical
もし読者
thinker.
がその娯楽になれたら
Selling ideas, thoughts.
しかもちょうど今生活を抑圧する教会への不信感が高まってる。人の考えを根底から変えるこの
People have been waiting for an
受け入
alternative.
れられるかもしれない。本の内容、教会の権威
Very methodical in thinking.
何か
Because of the need for money, she'll
生産手段
be able to find a solution that most people who actually want this to happen won't be able to.
というかそ
The
もそも
money is a great motivator.
もうとっくに有名な本なんじゃ。盛り上がってんだか。
Can't help but have that mindset, right, of always trying to look for opportunities.
利益の1割をポトツキに寄付し、
Hey, Patatsky!
丁寧に住所まで。
Ah,
一体誰だ。
Raphael.
著者じゃなさそうだし。
It hurts. God, his legacy
聞い
lives.
てよ。ちょっと面白いものを。
Fucking hell, asshole. I was hoping he wouldn't do this.
誰。
確かにいい値はつくからな。
Church deals in slaves?
運命を変えるってこういうこと。
すまないな。私は生き延びるためなら何でもする。
Yeah, you made that certain and the story's over. Alright, that's it for episode 16 and 17. Oh man, this show is so good. I feel like I can write an essay with every episode. So I just went back, saw both episodes again. So many small points, so many small details that made me really appreciate the quality of writing, the intelligence of the author, right, to seamlessly blend so many of these ideas so effortlessly. Such a rich narrative, and these characters, all of these characters, again, he continues to make such interesting characters time and again. After every time skip, after we just wash away all the previous characters, you know, Novak, Yolanta, Okuchi and Badini already gone to heaven. Then we meet these two characters, right? Draka, the girl, and Schmidt, both of them leading two very different paths towards the same end, right? To cause this revolution. Draka having her own idea of as being incentivized by money, and him, his frantic ideology that he wants to create a revolution, that he wants to overthrow the church's teachings. Both very different approaches, different interests, but they're both going to converge, I think, somewhere in the middle. And the village, the abandoned village, serving as the visual metaphor for both of these. I'll talk about it later in episode 18. Episode 17. So yeah, let's talk about Schmidt. I think most of my thoughts I said in the episode I was watching it, that he is the other end of the coin, right? The same violent means, the radical change, the way he's manipulating people around him to join the cause, right? Abandon your God first, and then only you can choose to be with us. Show us your conviction. And if you can't, then we are more than justified to kill you. Maybe on the spot, maybe sometime later when we meet again, right? If you're not with us, you're against us. And he's also leading through fear. He's not shying away from violence, large scale violence, right? Killing all of them and not feeling the least bit of remorse, because they are the wrong. They're in the wrong, right? So because we are banning, we are abandoning behind this cause, so we have all the justification to kill you, the enemy. We are different from you. It's the same story spun a different way. What the church does, It's very ironic. It's cruel humor. Um, yeah. So I was wondering that he kept specifically mentioning about Orthodox Church, right? The Orthodox teachings, that it's not just enough to believe in God. You have to pray to them. You have to give alms to the church. You have to follow these rules that is laid down by this book that will govern your life and everything else that you value. So that's Catholic, right? And I looked it up. So the Protestants and Catholics, they branched out around the 16th century. So I think what's this is the onset of that revolution, right? Because uh, it's a very similar ideology. They do believe in God. It's just that I don't know if this is the start of the Protestant revolution. I am not very knowledgeable about it. I just realized that this is similar in that thought, how they're rejecting the Orthodox Church. So I don't know if this is how it started or this is something different, because the way he was talking about is the idea of of being a naturalist, right? He just kind of tossed that idea that they do believe in God, but they believe it in the things that he has created, similar to Raphael's master in episode 1, right? He chose to believe in the creation of God, and that's why they'll have this natural affinity towards heliocentrism, the words of Okuchi and Badeni in that book. Yeah, quite a charismatic fellow. Definitely an extremist in his mindset, as all leaders are. What he talked about here, right? Misunderstanding something versus interpreting it differently. And he chooses to use the phrase interpreting differently. That's also what we see with Draka in the next episode, right? Her interpretation of the rules that he gave, what's his name? Her uncle gave, right? And that's how she interprets it. Everyone has their own belief systems, right? They interpret it to whatever suits their agenda. That's the funniest, that's the most human thing that we all do, and we think that we're right in our ways. That the conclusion we bring up is free of biases and any hypocrisy. And we see this one of his famous initiation tests. I think there have been times where he has put them down if they failed. Maybe they attacked him, maybe they argued, and we see that instance in the village, right? The village, the abandoned village that we see 25 years earlier, that serves as a good isolated story of these ideas, taking shape and affecting both these lives, both Schmidt and Draka, as we'll see in episode 17 when I discuss that. But yeah, they fail the test, they move on. They came there to take that book, take Okuji's book out of their safe, right, from the church. That's what their mission was, under the directions of the leader, who I do believe is Yolenta, because who else would know Okuji and Badeni? I like to believe that. So that's very interesting. So they're just following the guidelines of the leader. And what I understand from this scene where one of them, so they come to the abandoned village, and I'll talk about this abandoned village a bit later. But what this guy, when he's reading the book, it comes as a surprise to him, the ideas. So what I'm understanding is that they latched onto this idea of an alternative than the church that the leader gave them, that the earth moves, which is in direct contrast to the teachings of the Orthodox Church. Hence, what's his name? Schmidt and everyone else, they subscribe to that idea without really realizing what the implications are. I mean, he does seem to have a very strong ideology of naturalism, similar to the hunters foragers of our ancient tribe, tens of thousands of years ago, before we substituted them for human-made gods and put ourselves above all other living beings on planet Earth. That is the modern reality. It's a pretty interesting book, Sapiens. People should definitely read it. That book blew my mind, and I feel so rewarded, seeing these ideas presented here and knowing the background of it. It makes me enjoy the show even more. Yeah, that was the interesting point, and then we jump to this scene with Draka's uncle, and then we get more insights about it in the next episode. So yeah, let's talk about this village, right? I like how they show the actual examples to drive home the point, how this came to be, how the thoughts, the ideology shifted, how people start questioning the church. There's something fishy going on here. Nobles we understand, and we follow our rules as roles as peasants, because you have written down in the books that we must lead a modest life. But of course, the church couldn't keep their hands off the money that they get from all the donations, the teeth, right? Teeth, whatever it's called. And yeah, people, when you push them past the breaking point, they'll start questioning. Money is the greatest motivator. Money is the greatest religion, you could say, because money translates to serving your needs, your most basic needs, right? Your desires, your ambitions. So yeah, it's kind of like the church dug their own grave by relishing in it too much. Also, this idea of Schmidt, right, asking them for this initiation. Um, like, if you can't reject the whole meaning of your life, you can't go ahead, join us, and to move the earth. You need that kind of shift in mindset. Start questioning everything. Something that Draka also gets taught by her uncle. But yeah, here we see a small instance of a bloody revolution among families, right? And there was this conversation with Draka and her uncle that if you start, but that's different, right? That's different. That's led by money. But here also, a difference in religion and ideology start breaking the community in fighting. So what I'm understanding is that the village was abandoned when these guys took up arms, started burning all the crosses from people's homes. So people just like this family started abandoning the village. Hence, no one lives there anymore. We see some signs of destruction that wasn't very peaceful. These guys definitely resolved to violence. The thing is that any revolution that happens like this, there is no way that it would not lead to a similar, what do you say, like, there has rarely been a peaceful revolution. It always resorts to violence and power struggle, and the back and forth between the two clashing communities is always violent. It's like how he won't, like, this person, right, who kills his own brother, I think he won't be satisfied by just letting them go. Like, you believe your god, I'll believe mine, whatever. No, I have to kill you, I have to defeat you, I have to kill this very instance of the belief that is held by you, because that is the only way I can feel that I'm winning, that my ideology is right and yours is wrong. It's such a interesting thing that people do. You can't just let live and let live, right? Like, you have to believe it, otherwise I can't be at peace. That's how these monotheistic religions, like Islam, Christianity, they spread throughout the world, like forceful uh, spreading of the message. And I wonder who this kid is, whether it's one of the I wonder which way he tilted, because this is a very traumatic experience, right? So how did he grasp this? How did he rationalize this in his mind? Who was right, who was wrong? Maybe he's one of the imperial, um, what is the heretic liberation front, or he is someone from the church's side. Maybe he'll be an inquisitor later on. Who knows which way this kid went. So yeah, coming to the village and Draka's story, quite an interesting character. I love these characters, how, because you get to see what makes them tick. You get to see how they came to be. How their mind works. The story, this anime does this. The manga anime does this very well. You see why the way she is, uh, why she is the way she is. Ambition, pursuit of money, great motivators. And she has a scientific bent of mind, right? And an eidetic memory, able to draw the whole map of the village. I wonder how that will come into use, because every small detail in this show is used for something. So I like to believe that this is a clash of arguments between socialism and capitalism, even though those two ideologies are not had not been realized until recently. But it's the same thing, right? More ambition, growing your population more efficient ways of working, splitting up of spoils proportional to the effort put in. But that leads to discontent within the community. That leads to competition, which is not always the good. Which is not always good, right? Leads to dissent. Um, Also, it will break the community, and communities like these, right? Nomads, they lived a very different life compared to the big towns and cities where society used to take care of you more than your small community, even though it was still prevalent. Like compared to now, you are the safety net that is provided to you is more of what the country, the society, the municipality provides for you, the companies that provide for you, rather than your immediate community and family. If you would have observed, compared to the medieval ages and thousands of years, ever since humanity first took root. And this is that revolution, the different kind of revolution, not the scientific revolution, not the religious revolution, but this other uh, ideological revolution that shaped communities into smaller and smaller families, more independent of each other, their own personal selfish goals. And she represents that. And why she will be successful in imparting Okuchi's writings is because she is led by motivations that were foreign to most people. Like these elders, they're content with not spreading beyond their borders, right? Like we are fine. We don't need to hoard more. We don't need to amass more wealth. And that's what probably kept them safe. But this guy, even though he teaches all this and he turns down her argument, ironically, this guy hoarding his fine alcohol bottles selfishly, right, in secret of everyone, that leads him to be being caught, and then he throws her under the bus. That level of writing that the author has, it's it's so good. It really makes me appreciate when I watch and analyze this episode. It rewards me for doing so. I catch all these hints. All right, so talking about her backstory, the father going to take risks to loot and plunder, and that's why he is dead. I don't want to share the same fate, my fear of death, so I must amass money. But how much is enough, right? That's the one of the great questions. How much money is enough for me to live a peaceful life, free of fear, of of not being, or of not needing to take risks, of not endangering my life. And this was an important, interesting conversation. Like she doesn't want others to see her cry, because then that's refuting God's design. That he went to heaven. Why are you crying? Also, this idea of her feeling emotional every time this sunrise happens is because it's like a constant reminder every day that I need to amass enough money. That the time is ticking, just like it was for my dad. One day I won't be there to see the sunrise. That's again an interesting uh, piece of information I got. But then, yeah, his magical rules: abandon God, learn to read and write, amass knowledge, think for yourself, and then your conviction will be birthed. And her conviction is money, and his is to abandon all beliefs and morals for the individual, what do you say, survival. Very much against the community mindset, right? That he is preaching her, that he pretends to live. I mean, he is faithful to his own religion, right? His religion of individualism above everyone else. Like everyone, when they abandon religion, the big religion of Christianity, it always gets substituted by something equally important that they seem that they deem, and they will fight tooth and nail for that. It's not something. It's not something very different, if you think about it. Just like what Schmidt is doing, it's like he is doing, and what she will do in the later episodes for the sake of her religion of money. This guy gets caught by our bishop friend Anthony, and he throws her under the bus. And now we get to see what actually happened. But chance encounter, again, love these encounters and how we see different points of view, we follow different characters and then see how they all influence each other. It's one of the greatest strengths of the story. Fateful encounter designed by God himself, leading her towards this path. And I love how she talks about the simplicity of the words, right? It's not preaching. It's not very difficult to understand. Neither a book of religion nor of science. It's something that the common man can understand. That's why this idea will stick. Okji just nailed it completely. And it does praise God for creating the earth. So, her character is, I would say, probably the most interesting. Has the potential to be the most interesting, even more than Badeni. Because the way her thought process works, right? This insatiable need to, how do I make money? And it's amazing to see her thought process. It's like it is when you see Killua, right, from Hunter x Hunter, how he thinks about all this. And you can see the biases and the maybe incorrect conclusions that she draws. So that's very nice. What else was there? Yeah, so as I was saying, right, both Draka and Schmidt, they lead their own revolutions. One, a businessman, a businesswoman, an entrepreneur. How do I sell this idea? Because the greatest idea that has been sold, the greatest product that has been sold to the masses is religion. It's God, right? So if I offer an alternative, an even more juicy alternative, because we see people will latch onto it. Just like that, just like the village she's sitting in, that is the living proof that people want an alternative, that people are questioning the teachings and the actions of the church. That's why this village, like the author could have put this story about this bloody village revolution anywhere else, and this setting could have been anywhere else, but he combines so many layers on top of each other, different people's stories, that they just stack up so nicely to present a multi-dimensional story. It's so good because the person who's getting rewarded the most is the audience, because they have the knowledge of all these different viewpoints. The God being the only choice available, she has to offer something alternative, something that will stick, something that is as contagious as that, something very radical. The earth moves, the sun is at the center, thus refuting God, refuting the church. It's too good for people not to believe in it. And what I feel is that how she is going to be able to do this, because she's going to be caught by the church here, right? And I think she dons on their robes, so maybe she climbs the ranks, gets influence, authority, connections, resources, because that's what you need to be able to mass produce this idea amongst the populace, right? So I think she kind of becomes this double agent, and I don't know if she'll run into Schmidt and they will find a common ground. And who is this leader, right? We still don't know that. But yeah, it ends right here, and what Anthony will decide to do and what she decides to do here will be interesting. Episode 18. I think that's all I needed to say. show continues to be freaking amazing. So much to talk about every episode. I love it. So yeah, that's it for this time. See you guys. Episode 18 that released, I think, just a few days back. So I'll finally be caught up, and I'll be able to post one episode at a time. Bye.